Exactly a week remains before Christmas Day, and while we are all in a festive mood, so are the young ladies who are about to put their talents on display today right here inside the arena in San Juan City for the continuing live and exclusive coverage of the 73rd Women's Volleyball Tournament of your UAAP. It's our main game. The Far Eastern University Lady Tamaraws taking on the De La Salle University Lady Spikers. Of course, this is brought to you by none other than ABS-CBN Sports. Good afternoon, volleyball fanatics. I'm Anton Rojas, joined by Andrew Mulia. And FEU is coming off their worst defeat of this young season, while La Salle is looking to join UST at the top of the standings as we head into the Christmas break.
That's correct. And both these teams, we've expected a lot actually from La Salle. That's something that they are showing us this season. Whereas for FEU, a lot of people are actually quite surprised. But, with the rookie lineup that they have, I guess it's really the rebuilding phase that we're seeing.
Earlier today, we saw UST sweep UE in three straight sets. So you see UST on top right now. De La Salle will try to join them as we head into the Christmas break with a win today against FEU.
That's right. And like what we mentioned earlier, this is the standings that we have right now. FEU still looking for the very first win. Today might be a long shot from, getting that first win. But, this team, what I can see from them is that they're really taking it one game at a time, regardless of whether they win or lose. What's important for them, according to them, is that they play a good game.
It's a learning season for FEU, considering that they lost 12 players from last year's 14-lady lineup. Let's take a look right now at the last game of FEU. And as I said, it was their worst defeat of the season. But of course, it came against the defending champions of the league, the UST Tigresses. And the big question in that game, Anne, was where was the offense? In their first 3 games, they were averaging 89 points per game. But in the last game against UST, they only had 37. Micah Morada, who's supposed to be their veteran leader, only had 5 points. So where was the offense for FEU in that game?
Well, I think FEU, at that time, had a very difficult time, penetrating the blockers of UST. Maybe later on when we see the scores in terms of skills, we'll get to find out why. But clearly, if you look at the 3 sets, it was, a big margin as compared to the score of UST. And here, if you look at the scores in terms of attacks, sabi mo nga, ang layo. But if you look at the block points also, it's 11 points for UST as compared to only 1 of FEU. 11 service aces also for FEU as compared to 3 of FEU. So here, we can see that in terms of attacking, kaya hindi makapuntos itong FEU is because, they're up against such a tough blocking team such as UST.
And sinabi nga natin sa game na yun, and they watched the Isa Maizo highlight reel. Maizo of UST had 20 points in that game. Ang problema, they go up against La Salle today, who has an abundance of offensive options. Kaya napakalaking problema para sa FEU yan ngayong araw. So a lot of players, somebody from FEU has to step up, and their team captain, one of the 3 non-rookies on this FEU team, have to step up, and Robbie Remigio should be that leader on this team besides Micah Morada.
That's true, but that is a big question. But apart from that, it's also how they perform as a team na sabay-sabay. So it's not just really Robbie, but of course we're banking on her, given that, like what you said, she's not one of the rookies that they have in the lineup.
They need a voice more than anything, the leadership on the floor to be able to gather their team together and to be able to work collectively as a unit. Let's take a look at Remigio's numbers in their last game against UST.
Looking at it, actually, you wouldn't be quite impressed with only having 5 points. But, looking at, I guess, the scores of each and every player, this is already the best that they had for that game against UST.
And earlier today, our very own Man Panganiban was able to speak with the team captain of FEU. Let's listen in on that interview.
Hi, Robbie. Hello there. So, it's been 4 games already, and it's definitely not a walk in the park for the FEU team. Ikaw, as a team captain, sa tingin mo ba, dun sa 4 na games na yon, nakapag-adjust na ang FEU team?
So, sa tingin ko naman, sa 4 na games na nadaanan namin, unti-unti naman kami nakakapag-adjust sa every team na nakakalaban namin. And nagmamature din naman, pero hindi pa siguro ganun ka-push kasi nga marami sa amin, bata pa. So, hindi pa ganun yung, namin, yung, kumbaga yung parang pagdating namin about dun sa maturity.
Okay, now speaking of maturity, we will be playing DLSU. They're at 4-0. So, kung maturity pag-uusapan natin, they are indeed a mature team. Ano yung mindset ng buong team and you personally coming into this game?
Siguro sa amin lang naman kasi kailangan lang talaga namin ng tiwala sa sarili, then yung tiwala as a team. Kasi usually naman, basta naman may tiwala ka sa sarili mo and sa kakampi mo, magagawa mo yung gusto nyong mangyari. And siguro, teamwork lang talaga yung number one na kailangan isa puso namin yung game namin, tapos yung utak namin kailangan, focus kami dun sa game.
Okay, so we are going to be seeing you later with that focus and teamwork and maturity. There you have it, the team captain of the FEU Lady Tamaraws, Robbie Romero.
There you hear their team captain talking about their youth and their inexperience, but they are unfazed despite going up against one of last year's finalists, De La Salle University, this afternoon. Speaking of which, the Lady Spikers lost their first set of the tournament against Ateneo in their last game. Let's take a look at what happened. They lost a close set, actually. Set number 3, 25-23 against the Lady Eagles in that game, man.
That's right. It seems like, in the third set of that game, La Salle had, relaxed a bit. That's why they allowed Ateneo, to win that game over them.
And if you look at the stats, Anne, you're going to see a very balanced scoring on the side of the Lady Spikers. 5 of the 6 starters on this team scored in double digits as we take a look at the set scoring right here.
That's it. You can see first 2 sets taken by La Salle. Third set was stolen by Ateneo, but fourth set, of course, La Salle bounced back and won that game. But here, if you look at the skills in terms of spikes, I think Ateneo managed to keep it close really with La Salle. So lumaban ng Ateneo. The difference with in terms of their scoring is really the blocking. So just like what we mentioned earlier on the UST, that they had a very good performance in terms of blocking. I think this La Salle team was also a tall team. Did very well in this particular skill.
And blocks is really one of the skills that FEU must overcome against La Salle, because La Salle is a taller team as compared to FEU. Now, speaking of one of the players who excelled in the background of La Salle, because of course she has to play behind the likes of Mercado, Cruz, Alarca, and Maranyo, their utility player Michelle Gumabao really stepped up and surprised Ateneo in that game as she scored 12 points.
That's true. So there on your screens is Michelle Gumabao. In that last game, she scored 12 points, 4 coming from her blocks. And Michelle Gumabao actually plays a critical role because she's a utility spiker. It means that she is blocking the outside hitter of the opponent, which normally gets, majority of the sets in a game. So it's really critical that you have someone there who's good in blocking.
And it seems that she's very comfortable playing in the shadows of her more celebrated teammates, so to speak. Earlier today, Job De Leon was able to speak with La Salle's utility player, Michelle Gumabao.
All right, Michelle, this is your second season with La Salle, and this year you're a more regular contributor with the team. What's improved from your game since last year?
Overall, I can say spiking, blocking, and more on skills in the game, and more on self-confidence also.
This afternoon, what's your game plan versus FEU?
As usual, we hope to bring our best effort in the court and offer it all to God and work well as a team, communication, and everything that we've practiced and trained, we hope to execute it in this afternoon's game.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, that was Michelle Gumabao from La Salle. Back to you, Anton and Dan.